It's Black Wednesday with Keep the Tea, Makeke, the finest under the sun. Today, I just want to talk about savings, And as a point of departure, I normally ask myself this question, especially when I'm dissatisfied. Uguti, why is it, and I'm thinking out loud now, why is it public sector offers services that is a little bit of mediocre versus the private sector? And I thought long and hard about this, and I want to account it to the fact that as a nation we have a horrible past. We are a young democratic country. We just recently, I say recently because we are 29 years old within this freedom, and I want to account it back to Leo Kubuti. For the longest time, our people, black people, say this is Black Wednesday. They have been subjects to white people and other races. So for the longest time, we've been serving white people and other races. Therefore now, Maupega public sector, the majority of people who are working there are black people. And the majority of people who are rendered or receiving those services are black people. So I think the reason why the sector itself would receive a service which is not on par versus a private, it's not an issue of money per se, in my observation. It's a matter of black people abakajwayele ukuziseva bona, therefore akuba difficult ukuthi basevane bona futhi. For instance, I would not really mention department per se, but let's just say public sector loosely, general. Mawuya lapho uthola like people who look like you, and now abajwayelanga ukuthi basevane to the best of their abilities. Whereas go private, you would still find black people go private, and the majority of the people who would go to private would be whites and other races, right? So local gains would be easy, would provide a service to the best of their abilities, because money wouldn't be an issue, because go private, people are getting paid, right? And in as much as private is profit driven, but the aim would gains you money to be able to reinvest back to the business and to make the business to be functional and nonetheless. So go public. In fact, the public, if it's public was supposed to be the one that offers the best service, because the public is funded by the cash cow, which is the tax. So in a common school, the public versus the private. But the people who go there, they don't pay. Like us citizens, when we utilize the services of the state, we don't pay. So why is it abantu who public banga offer the best service? It's because they are not used to serving themselves. They are not used to serving each other as a race. Because the people who would be in public and the same people who would be in private, they've been in the same institutions, they have the same qualifications, they have the same knowledge, but the approach to service provision or service delivery is not the same, because of abantu bayabhadala, but who are those? I mean, most black people, especially in South Africa, there's high unemployment rate, and the majority is black people. They come from poverty-stricken communities. It's black people. So you bafuna those free services from the government. But the person who is, as a civil servant, mang service, I'm paid for that service. I'm not volunteering. That wouldn't be a factor. Whereas one will say, no, go private, people are paying, that is why they are supposed to get the best. But the person who is providing the service is paid, regardless of what the recipient is not paying or not. So that's just what I wanted to start with, because I want to amplify the point of the service. Which you have to serve. It's everyone who is great, smazy or successful, billionaire, rich, they've served a vision of somebody else before they had people who are serving theirs. I would give classical examples, because I'm a hip hop fan. I listen to hip hop, and one of the greatest of all time, Eminem, the 50 50% of this world, Dr. Dre. I wanna start with that example with you. Eminem was discovered by Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre signed Eminem under his record label Aftermath. And for the longest time, Eminem used to, as the artist, Dr. Dre was serving the vision, the Aftermath was serving the vision of Dr. Dre as his artist. Then a few years later, Eminem discovered 50 Cent, and 50 Cent was signed under the record label Eminem, which is Slim Shady Records, and 50 Cent served under the vision of Slim Shady and served under the vision of Eminem. Then 50 Cent started his own record label, and this crew, he started G Unit Music, and there was the likes of The Game, and The Game is a good example of people who don't want to serve, like who want to be kings at all times, who want to be the master. Because if you can look at him now and check all his interviews, he's bitter because you can tell which is one person who was willing to serve, under somebody else. But all the three, they're a good example of. And today it's like we still see our pictures are about together. They speak highly of each other because they were willing to serve under somebody else's vision and serve under somebody else's dream. And now they have people who are serving under them. Because you can look at 50 Cent now, like he's now a film mogul, a music mogul. Eminem, the same. Dr. Dre, the same. And when you are willing to be served, it will be easy for you to be served. Your vision and your story will be part of somebody else's story because initially you were willing to do that. Because think about the likes of Nikola Tesla, about Thomas Edison. Nikola Tesla at some point worked for Thomas Edison, and about Bain, when you read Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill gives this classical example of the power of thought. But the point that I want to focus on is the fact that Bain was willing to wanted a partnership with Thomas Edison. But before he got that partnership, there was no way Thomas Edison would just take somebody as a partner as a record label. But Bain was serving under Thomas Edison before he became his partner. So he was his employee. So you have to serve. And even if you can even check the story of like Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, they say when he was 17 years old, he worked at McDonald's. And the McDonald's brothers, back in the days, they started McDonald's before they were overtaken by another conglomerate. But they had a vision to start a fast food brand, and they did. But a few years later, couple of years later, then a young man at that time, Jeff Bezos was working at McDonald's. But look at Jeff Bezos now. At some point, he was the richest man in the world, and even though there was like Abanye Bantu who took that spotlight, but he's still richer. He has like the biggest company, e-commerce company in the world, and the software company in the world, which is Amazon. But at some point, he was serving somebody else. He was just an ordinary person who was working at McDonald's, serving under somebody else's vision. So, for you to be greater, you have to serve, and for you to be impactful, you have to allow other people to serve you, so that at least your story is part of somebody else's story, and they can create their own story. And you have been inspired as well, and you were part, and somebody else's story was part of your story. For like you served somebody else's vision. Now you have your own vision. So you allow other people to work for you. Then they serve that vision. And now you allow them, because I myself consider and I always think I look at myself as the leader of leaders. Which there's people that I've served and that I'm serving as well, and there are people who have served me and they are serving me. Space inside, the power of service. When somebody's in your space, serving your vision, serving your dream, when the moment they leave, and if they when people have mastered the art of service, when they leave the space, they will definitely be great wherever they are, because they understand when I'm given a task, or when I'm under somebody else's service or under somebody else's vision, I give the best that I can. Nanoma sekazenzela into yakhe, yuba reflective, kuyabonakala ukuthi this person understand the importance of the service. And when he has a small team already, seka leader, you can see those qualities which he's transferring those the vision, because you have a vision as a founder. You get people who will jump into the vision. You get people who are going to serve under the vision, and we're all serving under the vision. So today, since it's Black Wednesday, this is something that I think we need to think about as a race, most importantly, and we need to think about this as entrepreneurs, as hustlers, as leaders, in our own right, because we are all leaders in our own rights. We are all kings of ourselves, most importantly. So don't act the same, when you're given an opportunity to serve. Like if somebody says, come be in my space, and you're an intern, you're serving under somebody, just serve to the best of your ability. And when somebody is serving you, respect that person who is serving you, transfer as much knowledge as you can, see the person see the potential in them, see what they are becoming and what they try to become, and assist them as much as you can if you are being served as well. Have yourself an amazing Wednesday, and the rest of the week ahead is Gift Makeke, the finest under the sun.